Hey all, here I am excited to share with you my first Dear Hummy answer session. And this is a new feature I put on my website. I've wanted to do this for a very long time. However, creating this input page here was a little bit beyond my techie ability, but I finally figured it out. And so you can submit questions and about anything. They could be about digital scrapbooking, Photoshop Elements, photography, techie stuff. You know I love techie stuff. Life in general. My good friend thinks that I can answer those questions well, but I am not so sure. You can ask about me or whatever's on your mind. Now, I can't guarantee I'll answer all the questions, especially those I don't know the answers to, but I will video them, just like this video here, and include tutorials of my screen, and I will put them onto YouTube. I will try to keep it as confidential as possible. I won't share emails. I may use first names just so that I can let you know whose question I am answering. And so here is the very first question. What do you think is the most underestimated skill to learn in digital scrapbooking, or in DigiScrap was the question? Well, this I had to think about for just about 30 seconds, and then I knew my answer. And the most underestimated skill in digital scrapbooking is drop shadows. Now, if you go to my first layout tutorial, it's lesson 5 in course 1. You go to hummysworld.com. In the sidebar, click on course 1, and it's lesson 5, and the videos are actually on YouTube, have been there for a very long time. I just for now embedded them onto the guide. I'm trying to consolidate my massive amounts of information, and I'm putting things onto the guide. But you can see it includes drop shadows. Now for beginners, I tell beginners to simply click that drop shadow button. How many beginners do not even click to add drop shadows at all? And I tell them to use the soft or the low. How many times do I see them using one of the other ones that are not realistic? That's enough for beginners to get beginners started. However, if you go to, and I actually have it linked from this thread right here, but it takes you to this page, additional videos in course 1, and I have a drop shadow basics tutorial. There is so much to learn about drop shadows, and this is about a 30-minute long video, and some of the factors that you can learn about drop shadow basics is the angle of the light source, the height of the light source, the height of the object itself, the height that the object is off the page, and the harshness of the light source. Now these are just more drop shadow basics, and you can watch this video right here. And I suggest that you begin looking around at shadows in real life. It's amazing how many things I learned to appreciate in real life once I start using my Photoshop and Photoshop Elements. Start looking around. You're going to see those shadows and the different things they do. But there's actually a whole lot more than even these basics. For instance, something I do not cover in any of my tutorials is the color of your paper. If your paper is dark, you might need your drop shadow to have more opacity. If your paper is light, you might need your drop shadow to have less opacity. There is so much to learn about drop shadows. In fact, I'm going to show you a few more. Getting drop shadows on opaque elements, that is a whole new ball game. And I have a tutorial right here. It's in course 2, lesson 40. you can come to my website. In the sidebar, click on Course 2, and then you want to go to the Set 2, because all of my sets go by sets of 20. And so this is the very last lesson in Course 2, and I actually have had that up on YouTube for a long time. Also, I did have to re-upload it. Found I had it up there in Part 1 and Part 2, and Part 2 had disappeared. So hey, I put that up there just for you all. So if you add a drop shadow to an opaque element, it will fill in the element, and you need to learn how to get that just on the outer edges of it. And yet here is some more. Now this one has been up on YouTube for a very long time also. This lesson in Course 2, it's lesson 62, so you would go to set 4, is a movable drop shadow of an object. And you can see vaguely here how I have the shadow. It's just something artistic, the shadow of the bike down further on the layout. And that is a fun artistic thing. That's not really realistic, but you can do some really fun things with shadows to get them on their own layer and move them. And I actually had to record this twice because Steph at the Daily Digi didn't think that this could be done with Photoshop Elements, and so I recorded it again by special request for her to show how easy it is to get that drop shadow on its own layer in Photoshop Elements. So there's actually 2 videos there. Now, there are always 50 ways to do one thing. Okay, not 50. 3 or 4 ways to do one thing. And this is my favorite way to get the drop shadow on its own layer. But this tutorial, yes, I have lots of tutorials, and these are only the ones I'm showing you. I think I have more on drop shadows than I have out there already, so that I have on YouTube already. But I did upload this one just for you because of this question. And this is my custom drop shadow tutorial. Now, this will show you how I used to put a drop shadow on its own layer in Photoshop Elements. It's real easy to do in the full version of Photoshop, and I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. But this will show you another method that I used to use before I randomly discovered this method. And so this also will share with you how you can make the corners seem to be higher in some spots than the others, so the corners of your paper will kind of come off the page. This is using the smudge tool, because in Photoshop Elements you do not have the warp tool, so you have to use the smudge tool. And so there's always a way to do what you want to do. And this also shares something that I haven't seen in any other digital scrapbooking tutorials out there, but this is how to put the highlights on the page, because when you crinkle your paper, it not only turns the corner up, but it changes the highlights on the top of the page. And so be sure to go and watch that tutorial. So if I've already overwhelmed you in all that you can learn, and there's so much more in drop shadows, then you're going to know that that is truly the most underestimated skill in digital scrapbooking. The creative team members that can naturally do the drop shadows and take the extra time to do them are going to be your standout creative team members. CT, or creative team members, for those new to digital scrapbooking, are those people who will receive a kit from a designer, and in exchange for getting that kit for free, they make a layout, and they may have other tasks to do. but they may make a layout to help show off that kit. And so, yes, if you really want to improve your skills, or if you want to be one of those fantastic, wow, creative team members, take time to learn how to up your drop shadow skills. And I said, because I've never recorded this video before, I've got an element from my kit. It's on Etsy right now. It's an Adorable Beginnings for a newborn, and this is a tag from the kit. And so I'm just going to show you how, in the full version of Photoshop, you can quickly and easily put a drop shadow on its own layer. And so if you're in CS, whatever version, I think that this is in most every version. I don't know how early it goes, but definitely 3, 4, and up. First, make sure you have it so you show your transform controls up here at the top. And that is what I call the bounding box in my tutorials. So we have a bounding box going around. I'm going to just click down on any of these bounding boxes or corner boxes, and you're going to see this pops up at the top. And this right here is your warp tool. Now I can go, I think it is to, let's see, edit, transform, and warp. Oh, why would I ever want to do that? You know, when I can just quickly and easily get it by just clicking on any of these, and it brings it up here. And I'm going to click on, oh, you know what? This is what I do wrong all the time. Let's put a drop shadow on this first. I'm getting ahead of the game. Okay, click. Let's add a drop shadow. And I'm going to up this a little bit. I tend to like to over-exaggerate my shadows a little bit. And then this is kind of the habit I have. And then under-exaggerate them by lowering the opacity. That tends to be my routine. So I have a drop shadow on here now. And now I want to put this on its own layer. And in the full version of Photoshop, it's as easy as right-clicking and choosing Create Layer. And just like that, there is my drop shadow on its own layer. Now we're going to go into what I was going for a few minutes ago. So now I have this on its own layer, and I want to warp it to make it look like one of the corners are going to turn. And as I said before, just click right here and the warp comes up. Click on it, and now you're going to see the warp tool, and I can just drag this out just a little bit. And maybe I want this one to seem like it too. And I'm going to click OK. And just like that, it seems like this corner is coming off the page and this corner is coming off the page. And so that's how you put a drop shadow on a new layer and warp it in the full version of Photoshop. So it's just as quick and easy as that. But in the full version of Photoshop Elements, you got to go watch the other tutorials and watch the one on the smudge in order to get it to look like it's lifting off the page. There you go. I hope I answered that question and a whole lot more. I have about 6 more questions already. I will be doing hopefully one a day until I get them all answered. And it's not like I don't have enough other stuff to do, but this is fun. I'd love answering your questions. And so if you want to ask me a question, just come to this page, click on the Classes tab, and up at the top you're going to see a link that takes you to this page, and you can submit a question to me. Look forward to chatting with you. Bye.